This is kvci.blogspot.com. Brother George, Boston Rhynes. And as we look out over the garden of life, we must ask ourselves in America, what can we tell our children? These are the remains of shells that once walked upon the face of the earth. But what can we tell our children? Especially so here in Valdosta, Georgia, once again in the Black African American community. What can we tell our children? How many lost dreams? How many lost hopes? How many people never got to reach their highest potential? They went to church, they went to school, technical colleges, and on to the universities across this nation. But what will we tell our children? What will we say to our children of today and tomorrow? How could it be that we as Black African Americans have been in this nation for nearly 500 years, yet here in Valdosta, Georgia, we don't own one service station? What can we tell our children? All the high buildings downtown, all the millions and billions of dollars coming into the city and county. What do we tell our children about us going to church, reaching the highest level of the educational ladder? But what have we done to uplift the children to follow us long after we are gone? We look around and we see the Jews, we see the Latinos setting up shops, got their restaurants. Their little children feel proud of their accomplishments. The Caucasian people take all of our monies because we don't do what God blessed them to do. Apparently all we can do is go to church and own funeral homes and sell some illegal CDs on the streets. We have advanced ourselves in the education arena to become PhDs, master's degrees, but many of us who sit in these seats fear for our jobs, and so we can't speak up on behalf of those who may be mistreated. So what will we tell our children? Will we be able to say to them, like our forebears, that we fought the good fight? Oh, sure, we was arrested. Sure, we went to jail, and some of us even died. But at this dispensation of 2011, will we be able to say, as preachers and ministers of the gospel, as attorneys and educators and principals and superintendents of schools, and those in the political arena, city and county commissioners, will we be able to say that we fought the good fight, and that we stood up against the injustices in the land, and that we stood on behalf of the poor, the same people that Jesus and others who traveled that great line of the vine fought and gave their life to help protect. What will we tell our children? Will we tell our children that we continued the fight of Nat Turner, Frederick Douglass, Booker T. Washington, Edward D. Bowles, Reverend Jesse L. Jackson, and others? Or we may criticize them today and all of their faults, but did we reach the level of a Jesse Jackson, of a Martin Luther King, or any one who stood on the side of right? As I look out over the field, the question must be asked, why don't we have convenience stores in our own community? Why do we allow others to sell us the goods and services that we need in order to live? They take that money back to their communities, use it to take care of their families and their little children and send their children to school. They don't have to collect book bags and pencils for their children because their children are using your money to take care of their children. When will we begin to do what others are doing? So when our children ask us, Daddy, 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 why don't we own some of those buildings downtown? Why can't we build and have a restaurant that take the church monies where they can come and eat in your restaurant, black daddy, black mama, black child? We fill the coffers of everybody else. Our children will ask us, Mama, Daddy, where's your law firm? Where is your church wherein you too can take a trip to Africa every quarter and donate and train and educate the land and the children of the land of the burnt-faced people that were stripped of their identity, their God and belief system under the European powers of England, the colonialism that was dropped upon a people. When our children ask us, Mama, you got your PhD, but Mom, why were you afraid to take on the issues to make it better for those people, Mom? Were you afraid to challenge the system? Mama, a city with nearly over 50-some thousand people, and there's only 32 seats at the School Board of Education meeting room. Mama, what did you do about that? Mama, Daddy, Brother Rhymes been complaining for years and talking about 30 deaths in the Lowndes County Jail, but nobody seemed to care about them. Mama, 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 where are those who say they follow Jesus the Christ? And so we look upon the garden and we ask a question. Before we reach the final stages of this life and arrive here at this final resting place, what will we be able to say as a people? Did we fight to bring in a better world as the founding fathers of this nation? Or do we just sit back today and say, well, God will take care of it? God could have taken care of it yesterday. But God inspired men like Richard Allen to set up the AME Church. God inspired men like Bishop Mason to set up the Church of God in Christ. God inspired men like Noble Drew Ali and many others to go beyond what was required while they lived. They didn't just believe in waiting until after they died, somewhere by and by up in the sky, before they could enjoy some of the finer things of life that everybody else enjoys before they die. So my beloved brothers and sisters, as I come to a close, I came out here to say to you, are you a registered voter? Are you a registered voter? When your child reached the age of 18, have you said to them, get your behind down and register to vote? Too many of your people suffered, bled, and died to get that right. Are you telling your children not to just go to school and get an education so they can get a good paying job? But are you saying to your children, go to school and get a good education and start a business so you can create some jobs, create a business like all other self-loving people have done? We got to think outside the box of incarceration and indoctrination today. We got to ask city, county, state, and federal governments, why and how many black African Americans and poor white people are getting federal funded contracts, participating in the buildings of schools and county and city buildings, state buildings. Is this why our black kids are committing crimes? Because they don't have the funds as others, because they dominate the building industry? While the few black plumbers and electricians and GCs can't get funding from the banks and loans institutions? We got to wake up today, y'all, and let us do it before we reach this final stage of life. How many contractors are out here that never got the opportunity to bid on a state, local, or federal contract? Oh, were they unqualified? Did they have a bad portfolio? And if so, and if we have Christian people in our community, did they tutor them to tell them how to get access as the majority, as those that have benefited for decades and centuries? We gotta wake up, y'all. It's a new day, y'all. When will we learn to get rid of the old said to be Willie Lynch mentality? We just fight among ourselves while others walk away with all the monies from our communities. How many times do we turn the money over in the black community? I'm told we only turn it over once, while in other communities they turn it over from 8 to 12 times in their community. That means they help each other, while we sit back and help everybody but us. And then when somebody come up to give you the truth, such as I'm giving, then you know we don't support that person. We find names to call them, and we get stuck on what is their denomination. It's not about the denomination, my friend. It's about the nation, and it's about the good of humanity. All I'm going to leave you now. I just want to say to you today that I love you. But before we come to this final resting place, let us turn to each other and not on each other, so we can save each other before it is too late. Let us as a people come together as we look out over the garden of life. And regardless of what you say, do, or believe in, you can be a Baptist, a Methodist, a AME, a Presbyterian, a Muslim, a Jew, a Hindu, or just simply you. No matter how high you reach in life, no matter what degree you may acquire, only what you do for Christ will last. And if you don't put a dent or a scratch in time to bring about change for the betterment of man and mankind, then what good will your stay here on this planet? Why live in fear and fear death? Death is only a part of life. And without life, there can be no death. And without death, there is no life. You must travel the 360-degree circle of what God has so ordained. And he said in the volume of sacred law, is appointed unto man once to die, and after that the judgment. Just don't let your living be in vain. What good is this life if you can't find something good in another person outside of your denomination, spiritual belief system, beyond your level of intelligence? If you have a PhD, so what? So what that you got a PhD? Did you ever think about there are some people that can't even get out of kindergarten because their mind is so of such that they can't do it? Do you look down on them? There are some people that will never graduate from high school, and they wanted to, but they just don't have it. And because you have it, you should give praise to God and help those in your own little way who could not reach the level that you may have reached. And in the process of that, I believe the God of creation will thank you for that. You know, after I got a little older, I found a new way of looking at religion. I don't do what I do to get to heaven. I do what I do because it's the right thing to do. And I will say to you, in the best understanding that I have, prior to me getting where these shells are today, I want to do good, I want to do right, and I want to treat you right, even if I never reach heaven. I'm not overly concerned about heaven anymore. I used to be so obsessed with heaven until I couldn't live today. But now all I want to do is what is right. And I do it because I love doing right. It's easy for me to do right. And I don't do it looking for some reward in the sky by and by after I die in heaven, walking the streets with gold in my pockets on streets that are paved with gold. I do it because it's the right thing to do. And in my doing good, it makes me feel good. And so this is where we are today. This is where we are today. This is where we are today. We must turn to each other and not on each other. So let us all come together and thank God for each other, beyond skin color, beyond race, beyond religious belief system, beyond your level of intelligence. Let us come together as one before we reach this final destination. Let us stand strong, and let us take an example from all other people as they use our dollars and leave us broke, busted, disgusted, and our children asking a question. Mama, Daddy, other people are doing it by using our money. Why can't we use some of their money so we won't have to be at the bottom of the economic ladder? kvci.blogspot.com. Just keeping it real for you in these days and times. And we will either come together and get it together, or we will all perish and die as fools. Once again, bye-bye. We're gone.